ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Springfield Cup. The oldest, most prestigious, toughest, roughest, sweatiest, most violent, most unpredictable, and most glorious football competition anywhere between Chippenham and Bath Easton. I'm Dave Mattingly, and alongside me this evening, as always, is a man who knows the Springfield Cup even better than he knows the codes for the delicacies in the famed vending machine here at Springfield Centre. It's Gavin Gooseberry.
Yes, Dave. Hello, everybody at home. Lovely to be here at Springfield, where quality five-a-side football is all but assured, as is a fine selection of confectionaries and savoury snacks available in the foyer. Go on then, Dave, test me.
Yeah, you want to go, Gavin? I should explain for our viewers that Gavin recently struck up a bet with a CCSFF manager, who for now shall remain unnamed, that he could memorise the code for every item in the vending machine here at Springfield Centre. I've been helping Gavin revise, so let's see what he's got. You can play along at home if you like. Opal Fruits.
B11.
Check if he's right. You're correct. Snickers.
D18.
Right again. Curly Whirly.
F24.
3 out of 3. You know your stuff, my friend. I think you're ready. But anyway, Gavin and I are delighted to be here at Springfield Centre and delighted to have you along for this Springfield Cup semi-final between Kingan's Kippers and Hardley Athletic FC. A game which takes on huge significance for both teams as they seek to earn a place in the Cup final. Gavin, if you please, bring us up to speed on what happened in the quarterfinals earlier in the season.
Well, on the other side of the draw, Up in Smoke FC overcame Jaipur Takeaway only after extra time and penalties in an absolute thriller, whilst Dave Brown's boys easily defeated a depleted Box Badgers side 4-0. Bence's Lane Bastards also failed to take the cup seriously and fell to our first team featuring tonight, Hardley Athletic FC, who gave the Bastards a 6-1 spanking in the quarterfinals. Pasta United also failed to field their strongest team in the first round of the competition and suffered a 3-0 loss at the hands of their local rivals and tonight's other semi-finalist, Kingan's Kippers.
Especially considering these two teams' league positions, we can surely expect a competitive match tonight, can't we, Gavin?
Oh, most definitely, Dave. Whilst I think both the Kippers and Hardley Athletic can make a resurgence in the league with a good second half of the season, neither club is really in contention to win the league, and they'll both surely be looking at the Springfield Cup as their best chance of silverware this season. They both treated the cup with the respect it deserves in the quarter-final round, and now they're in the semi-finals. This certainly is a crucial game for both clubs today.
Yes, indeed. And since this is the Springfield Cup, that means a five-a-side, 60-minute match with a possibility of 30 minutes of extra time and penalties if required. The match will be played here at the Stephanie Millward Sports Hall, where there's no out of bounds, no yellow or red cards, and perhaps most notably, no referee. In the Springfield Cup, the 10 players gracing these hallowed wooden boards are entrusted with officiating themselves and upholding the rules as well as the integrity of the CCSFF. Let's not waste any more time in bringing you this evening's starting lineups in this Springfield Cup semi-final, starting with the Neston outfit, Kingan's Kippers. Over to you, Gavin.
Thanks, Dave. Well, Kingan's Kippers manager Richard Robb made it clear where his priorities lie last week in the league, when he rested a number of first-team regulars to keep them fit and healthy for today's semi-final. So they're at full strength today and have opted for a 1-1-2 formation. Tim Parker has started a surprising number of matches for the Kippers this season, but with this being the Springfield Cup, the demands on the goalkeeper are a little different, and Luke Mortimer is understandably the preferred option tonight for his far superior mobility and skill with a ball at his feet. Mortimer played in goal in the quarterfinals against Pasta United, but that didn't stop him getting himself on the score sheet, as did a number of other goalkeepers in the last round, which illustrates how a goalkeeper who's comfortable outfield can influence a game from the back in this competition. Dave Pearce is back, anchoring the team at centre-back. He was rested last week in the league and should be raring to go today. The only other match Pearce has missed this season was the Cup quarter-final, so he's making his cup debut today. He's not the strongest, or the fastest, or the most skillful, or the hardest defender, but such is the state of the Kippers squad, and the league as a whole, he's undoubtedly the best option for the Neston boys to match up against Hardly Athletic's star striker, Daniel McCabe. Craig Fulham has been a key player for Kingan's Kippers so far this season, and he has played well, although he's only registered 2 goals and 1 assist as of week 8. Manager Rob will be hoping for more output from his bigger boy in the second half of the season, and he especially needs a big game from Fulham today, and for him to be an effective link between the back 2 and the front 2. He plays as a lone midfielder today. And it's a front pair of wingers for the Kippers today. The captain, Danny Derrick, will play on the left, with Dominic Woodkin-Snaith operating up the right. Woodkin-Snaith has had a good first half of the season, scoring 3 league goals and registering 2 assists. And his excellent endurance could serve him well today. But otherwise, Dom is a prime example of a player who is not well suited to the Springfield Cup. If the match gets physical, I can see Woodkin-Snaith's performance suffering for it. He'll be relying on some backing from the bigger boy Craig Fulham and his strike partner, probably the hardest geezer in the year group, Danny Derrick. Derrick will be looking to be amongst the goals again here at Springfield after scoring against Pasty United in the quarter-finals. And their opponents today are Hardly Athletic. Let's take a look at their starting lineup. Well, Dave, like the Kippers, Hardly Athletic are pulling out all the big guns today, starting with club captain Matt Saunders between the posts. The Cap played in midfield in the quarter-finals, but is preferred in goal today. Saunders has conceded 7 goals in his 2 league appearances in goal so far this season. But for a player who is haunted by the memory of a lobbing many years ago, he can at least be confident that is unlikely to happen again today in the shorter goals here at Springfield. Dean Bonehead Norris drops to the bench, or in today's case the balcony, where Norris has been particularly boisterous in the build-up to kick-off. He's been talking shit to the Kippers as they warm up, and it got a bit heated a few minutes ago between him and the Kippers reserve player Luke Sawyer up there on the balcony. Jordan Edwards instead plays as a centre-back today, and the big question surrounding the wayward defender who recently arrived in Cologne from Dave Brown's boys was, would he remember his kit for this crucial game? Seeing him out there warming up with a team, I can confirm that against all odds, Edwards has remembered his kit. A great result there from manager Mace before kick-off. Now he's just got to keep his fingers crossed that Edwards isn't too hungover or on too much of a come-down, and that he can keep it tight at the back today. Joe Pritchard plays alongside Daniel Hughes in the midfield. Pritchard started the season strong, but after playing every game up until week 7, he became fatigued and his form suffered. This is his first appearance since the mid-season break, and he'll be open to be back to his best today. Daniel Hughes is another player open to improve his form after a rough first half of the season with Box Badgers. He's preferred today to Rich Beattie, who upon hearing the news he would miss out on the big game, reportedly reacted with great warmth and support for both Hughes and his manager Craig Mace. Richie Beattie is a class act. And of course, the main man up front, Daniel McCabe. The Fat Boy's top goal scorer has 4 in the league, but that's a feat he achieved in a single game in the last round of the Cup against the lame Bence's Lane defence. He's a player who relishes a trip to Springfield, and Pierce and Mortimer of Kingan's Kippers are going to have their hands full today, I suspect. Some intriguing matchups all over the pitch in this one. The teams have finished their warm-ups and are headed back to the dressing rooms for a final team talk from their managers. As always in the Springfield Cup, due to the much reduced capacity compared to club grounds, each club has only been allocated 30 tickets each, and predictably every one of them was snapped up. With this being an evening match, they've had plenty of time to get their merriment levels up, and both sets of supporters are buoyant on the balcony across from us as we near kick-off. Yeah, some of them supporters look shit-faced already. Not much separating the two groups of fans either. We can only hope they're well behaved tonight. Yes, let's hope so. The two teams are coming out onto the sports hall now, saluting their respective fans. There are a few nervous looks on the faces of the players, reflecting the magnitude of this occasion. Kingan's Kippers are in their home kit of hot pink with candy yellow and turquoise trim. Hardly Athletic are in their first choice royal blue with a yellow band.
The players are followed by Springfield centre representative Richard Toghill, who carries the match ball out to centre circle. The managers have taken their place in front of their players on the balcony. Kingan's Kippers chose to kick off the first half after their captain Danny Derrick beat Hardley Athletics' Jordan Edwards in the pre-match arm wrestle. It will be Derrick to kick off for the village people with Dominic Wadkinsnafe. And we're underway here at the Stephanie Moore Millward Sports Hall in this, the first of two semi-finals in the Springfield Cup. And the Hardley Athletic goalkeeper Matthew Saunders is able to gather it inside his D. This game has started to develop a nice flow with some good passing interchanges from both teams, but so far neither has had a clear sight of goal. Saunders checks for the whereabouts of McCabe up front, but Pearce is switched on for the Kippers at the back, and Saunders thinks otherwise, rolling the ball to Pritchard, who's dropped deep inside his own half to take possession. Pritchard turns on the ball and begins to advance up the centre. He'll be met by Wadkinsnafe. It's a half-hearted challenge from the Kipper, and Pritchard sells a little dummy and goes past Wadkinsnafe. Now he plays it on to Hughes at centre hall. That's Fulham for company. Hughes is able to play it forward, first time, towards McCabe, who looks like he's going to be able to get to this pass ahead of Pearce. McCabe has his back to goal, about 15 yards out. He has Pearce on his back. Oh, and that's a great turn for McCabe. He's turned Pearce inside out, and he's in here. Mortimer is rushing off his line, but McCabe powers it in! Low and hard, into the bottom right corner. A ruthless finish with the left foot from McCabe. And he's opened the scoring in this semi-final, inside the first 10 minutes. That's a great goal. Lovely bit of skill from McCabe to get goal side of Dave Pearce. With his back to goal, he shimmied as if to turn left, then knocked it to his right, but in the same motion he dragged it back to his left foot and finished past Mortimer before the goalkeeper could react. Good work from Pritchard and Hughes to work the ball forward quickly and get the one-on-one for McCabe. From a Kippers perspective, it's the worst possible start. Yes, the Kippers manager Richard Robb is hurling what at best can be described as ferocious encouragement at his centre-back Pearce. As the players get ready to restart the game, 9 minutes played, and it's Kingan's Kippers 0, Hardley Athletic FC 1. Pritchard crosses the halfway line and he tries to flick it past Fulham, but the Kippers' bigger boy manages to knock the ball loose. An important tackle there, and Chris Pearce gets to the ricochet inside the Kippers' half. McCabe immediately begins to harass Pearce, and the defender looks flustered on the ball. He finds a safe pass back to his goalkeeper, Mortimer, though. And the Kippers' keeper looks to get on the front foot. He strides forward out of his D with the ball, and now Mortimer punches a pass back into the midfield to Fulham.
Go, Kippers!
Hughes is trying to put in a challenge for Hardley Athletic, but Fulham is able to take one touch and release Wadkinsnafe up the right side. The Fat Boys are short of numbers at the back. Wadkinsnafe has Derrick to aim for in the middle, and he does now with a low cross into the corridor of uncertainty. Edwards can't reach it, and Derrick sliding in at the far post, but he can't get a toe to it. The keeper, Saunders, was caught in no man's land, and Edwards was slow to react to the threat. But Captain Derrick couldn't quite reach the ball at the far post. Had he done so, he surely would have levelled the match. Oh, he's agonisingly close to the equaliser there, Dave. The move was started by the Kippers goalkeeper, Luke Mortimer. Nice to see him, unafraid to leave his area. He found the commanding presence of Craig Fulham, who did well to set Wadkinsnafe free on the right-hand side. A decent cross, but not accurate enough. Edwards gets his pass away to Pritchard on the left side of the sports hall from a Hardley Athletic point of view. He cuts inside of Wadkinsnafe and looks ahead to McCabe with a low pass, but Dave Pearce does well to get a toe on that, although McCabe will retain possession for Hardley Athletic to the left side of the area. The only way is back for McCabe though. Pearce is sticking to him, and the striker plays it back to Dan Hughes on the right side on the halfway line. Oh, it's a sloppy first touch from Hughes, and he'll have to go backwards to retrieve it. He's under pressure from Fulham, who in fact easily barges Hughes off the ball and takes possession. Hughes has gone flying there. We play on, despite appeals from the Hardley Athletic fans on the balcony. Fulham leads the counter-attack for the Kingan's Kippers, siding in from the left side. Oh, and he's got a let fly! Oh, he's absolutely pummeled that shot beyond Matt Saunders and into the right side of the goal from about 20 yards out. What a strike from the bigger boy. Oh, lovely goal.
Strong play from Fulham. Boozy took a bad touch and Fulham jumped on the opportunity. Brings it forward. He's got Watkins Snaith to one side, Derek to the other, but he didn't need neither of them. He's backed himself from long range and he was right to do so. Saunders wasn't getting near that. Ooh, it was a bit of aggro though. On fight! Yes, the Hardley Athletic players are adamant it was a foul by Fulham that allowed him to take possession from Hughes, and Jordan Edwards and Daniel McCabe are looking to press the point. Dean Norris is berating Fulham from the balcony, and Edwards is forehead to forehead with the goal scorer Fulham. We might actually get a decent chance of a fight here. Watkins Snaith is pleading with both players to stand down. Oh, there's a shove from Fulham into the chest of Edwards now. McCabe comes rushing in. Oh, but there are some peacemakers getting in the way now as well. Saunders and Watkins Snaith are trying to be the unwanted voice of reason and separate the would-be brave warriors. Ah, for fuck's sake. Get out of the way. This is a Springfield Cup. Well, a great letdown there for fans of both sides, as what could have been a real balcony clearer peters to nothing. From the look of the expression on the face of Danny Derrick right now, it looks like the goal will absolutely stand. So the Kippers fans can at least take solace in the fact that their team have secured an equaliser. With only a couple of minutes before half-time, it's Kingan's Kippers 1, Hardley Athletic 1. Well, we're just over 10 minutes into the second half, and so far, it's been just as hotly contested and finely balanced as the first half. The Kippers have enjoyed some good spells of possession, and they have the ball now just inside their own half with Fulham, who finds Derek on the left side. First time pass back to Fulham from Derek, and now Fulham tries a through ball for Watkins Snaith to chase. But Edwards has the situation under control, and he's able to hold off Watkins Snaith and allow the ball to roll through to his goalkeeper Matt Saunders. An unnecessary bit of afters there from Edwards on Watkins Snaith, as the centre-back appeared to throw a cheeky little elbow into the ribs of the Kippers winger. Hardley Athletic captain Saunders is able to collect inside his D, and he quickly rolls it out looking for Pritchard. A nice drop of the shoulder from Pritchard, and he's able to get away from Fulham momentarily, crossing the halfway line, moving in for the right side. He's got McCabe ahead of him, making a run into the channel, and Pritchard has spotted the run. The Kippers defender Pearce is a little slow to react. And here comes the through ball from Pritchard, and McCabe takes a shot on first time, and he buries it into the bottom left corner. Beyond the outstretched Mortimer to make it 2-1 to Hardley Athletic. An instinctive finish from the Fat Boy's top goal scorer, and it's his second of the evening. Oh, that was a great counter-attack from Hardley Athletic. He caught the Kippers napping. Fulham for once was a step off the pace, and that allowed Pritchard the time to pick a pass through to McCabe, and he knew where the goal was without having a look. The goalkeeper Mortimer couldn't get out in time to close the angles, and he's well beaten. And the scoreline swings back in favour of Hardley Athletic. Their fans are going wild on the balcony. Dean Norris is of course taking it too far. Bonehead just tried to crowd surf on the 30 Hardley Athletic fans behind him as they celebrated, and he appeared to hit the floor hard as the front row ignored his antics. Manager Mace just shakes his head and helps Norris to his feet. As tired of standing next to Norris as he must be, he must also surely be delighted that his team are back in front in this semi-final. Hardley Athletic now lead Kingan's Kippers by 2-1. And Watkins Snaith will attempt to retrieve the loose pass from the corner on the far side against the wall. Oh, he's clouted from behind by Hardley Athletic's Jordan Edwards. That was an ice hockey style body check. Watkins Snaith crumples and falls to the hardwood while Edwards takes possession. Oh, but no sooner does he do so, and Fulham goes flying in with a two-footed challenge on the defender. Ooh, good to see the Kippers' bigger boy looking out for Watkins Snaith. Edwards has been targeting Dom all game. But Fulham hasn't played the ball, and in fact Edwards got a toe to it, and now Hughes can maintain possession for Hardley Athletic inside his own half. Watkins Snaith, Fulham and Edwards all hit the deck in that sequence, and Hughes has space to carry the ball across the halfway line. Now he finds Pritchard, who's in a pocket of space on the right side. Derek is a little slow to get in defensive position, and Pearce is left with Pritchard and McCabe to deal with. Pearce sticks to McCabe, and Pritchard can let fly, but it's tipped over the bar by Mortimer. Good reflexes from the goalkeeper.
Pritchard struck it well, but his shot was too central.
Yeah, disappointing finish from Pritchard. I thought he was going to bury that.
Hardly Athletic enjoying a nice spell of possession here as we near the final 5 minutes. Both teams are looking a little wary after what's been a fierce, high-intensity encounter for most of the evening. Edwards plays it back to captain Matt Saunders, who quickly moves it on to Daniel Hughes on the right side. As tired as they must be, the Kippers are still committed to keeping their cup dreams alive, trying to close the ball down all over the hall. It's Derek who's putting Hughes under pressure, but Hughes gets his pass away to Pritchard just inside the Kippers' half. It's a 1-2. Pritchard does well to flick it back to Hughes, who's continued his run up the right side. Derek followed the pass and has been caught out here. McCabe is calling for it in the centre, and Hughes will now cross. Oh, but it's cut out by the Kippers goalkeeper Mortimer, who immediately looks forward and he throws it out to Fulham. And quickly we go the other way. Oh, it's a lovely knockdown from Fulham. First time on the volley, straight into the path of the onrushing Derek. He could be in here. Edwards has been completely bypassed. It's Derek for Kingan's Kippers, and it's there! It's the equaliser! A lightning quick counter-attack from Kingan's Kippers, caught Hardly Athletic cold, and with 5 minutes to play, we're level once again.
That is a goal from the very top row of the vending machine there, Dave. That is a pack of munchies. Premium, high-end, 40p quality. But to the Kippers, it's worth plenty more than that. Boozy went bombing down the right wing, and when his cross was intercepted by Mortimer, he left a lot of space in behind him. Quick thinking from Mortimer to spot Fulham and launch an attack. A silky touch from the bigger boy, perfectly weighted for Derek to take in stride. And with the pressure on, staring a cup exit in the face, their captain Danny Derrick was calm and collected and provided a lovely side-footed finish beyond the diving reach of goalkeeper Saunders.
The Kippers captain kept his nerve, and with 5 minutes to play, we're level once again at the Stephanie Millward Sports Hall. It's Kingan's Kippers 2, Hardly Athletic 2. Well, we're deep into the second half of extra time, and after an exhilarating initial 60 minutes, there's been very little to get excited about since then. Both teams look tired and happy to just keep possession when they have it, without really pushing for a winner. The players seem all too aware that their next error could cost their club a place in the cup final, and there's been very little in the way of risk-taking in this 30 minutes extra time period.
Go, Kippers!
Hughes has the ball for Hardly Athletic just inside his own half. He has Pritchard inside of him, but Hughes takes too long on the ball and he's barged over by Craig Fuller of Kingan's Kippers. Not for the first time tonight, Hughes hits the floor, courtesy of the Kippers midfield enforcer Fulham. Derek waves play on, and Fulham is able to gather possession just inside the centre. Inside the Hardly Athletic half now. But Edwards goes barreling into the back of Fulham, leaving the bigger boys sprawling on the hardwood. No attempt to play the ball there. Perhaps a revenge attack for the challenge from Fulham on Edwards earlier. Things are getting heated now as both players spring back to their feet and their teammates swarm in. Oh, this is promising. Yes, Fulham isn't having it at all. He slaps Edwards with an open hand, and this could get ugly.
Rumble!
McCabe and Pritchard go rushing in, and there's a looping right hook from Pritchard on Fulham, and this is getting out of hand. The punches are flying. Mortimer has come all the way from his area to get involved, and has just clouted Edwards across the back of the head, and now he's tussling with McCabe. A cracking bit of action is going on between Fulham and Pritchard on the far side, with both players landing punches. Even on the balcony, Dean Norris has breached the barrier dividing the two teams' reserve players, and now he's rolling around on the floor with Luke Sawyer of Kingan's Kippers.
This is quality, Dave. Absolute mayhem.
Yes, there are one or two players steering clear of the violence, but otherwise this is a free-for-all. The hardest player on the floor, Danny Derrick, is getting involved now, though. He grabs McCabe by the back of his collar and tears him away from the clutches of Mortimer. And now Derek rushes over to confront Pritchard, who's been slugging it out with Craig Fulham. But I doubt he wants it with the Kippers captain. Pritchard does indeed back up, and it looks like order is going to be restored here. Managers Richard Robb and Craig Mace are both urging calm from the balcony. Between the two managers, the scuffle between Sawyer and Norris is being broken up. What's the resolution going to be here, though? Derek has grabbed the match ball, and he and Fulham are now in heated debate with McCabe and Edwards of Hardly Athletic. We'll await the outcome of these negotiations. In the meantime, Gavin Gusbury, your thoughts on what's just transpired?
Well, firstly, fair play to Fulham and Edwards for having the heart to finally get the shit started. It's been bubbling underneath the surface since before kickoff, and I'm glad someone finally had the balls to kick things off. Fair play to McCabe, Pritchard and Mortimer for all getting well amongst it. But at the end of the day, once the big man Double D steps in, you got a tough decision to make as a hardly athletic player. Pritchard has shown he's a warrior, but I don't blame him at all for standing down once he was confronted by Danny. Let's see how the players decide to proceed.
Well, I would have thought it would be a free kick to Kingan's Kippers, but it seems the players have agreed to bring a close to the extra time period, and presumably go straight to penalties. Kippers captain Derek is calling his team over to one side of the sports hall, and the hardly athletic players are gathering on the opposite side of the half. Extra time comes to an explosive end with a score still 2-2, and it will be a penalty shootout to decide this Springfield Cup semi-final. Well, after 60 minutes of normal time and almost 30 minutes of extra time played, there's still nothing to separate these two teams and decide who will advance to the Springfield Cup final. And so we go to penalties. Springfield representative Richard Toghill, who was nowhere to be seen when things got violent during extra time, reappeared moments ago to draw the curtain across the halfway line, and the managers and reserve players have made their way down from the balcony to support their teammates, and we look just about set to begin this shootout. So much riding on the outcome of this, Gavin.
Oh, it's been an extremely competitive cup tie. Now it's down to who can keep their nerve and score from the penalty spot. Kippers would have plenty of faith in the athleticism of their goalkeeper Mortimer, whilst hardly athletic will put their trust in their crafty captain Matt Saunders, who's a master of mind games.
Danny Derrick is stepping out into the middle of the playing area now, and it looks like he's going to back himself to go first in this penalty shootout. Hardly Athletics goalkeeper Matt Saunders takes a last-minute swig of his water bottle and now prepares to receive the first penalty.
Goalkeeper!
Derrick has positioned the ball and measured his run-up. He approaches, and he's missed! He drags it wide of the left post, having sent the keeper the wrong way. The worst possible start for Kingan's Kippers.
Oh dear, oh dear. That is not what manager Rob was looking for to open the shootout. I expected Derek to score, but I think he's been too focused on getting it right in the corner, and he's just pulled it wide of the post. The hardly athletic goalkeeper punches the air in celebration, and the fat boys are off to a flyer.
And first to take a penalty for Hardly Athletic is their leading goal scorer, Daniel McCabe. He was able to notch 2 more cup goals today to take his total to 6 for the current campaign, but can he convert from the spot to give the Pie Men an advantage in this shootout?
Come on, the fat
Places the ball confidently as the Kippers goalkeeper Mortimer bounces around on his goal line. Here comes McCabe, and it's off the crossbar! Again, the goalkeeper went the wrong way, but McCabe, like Derek before him, was unable to convert. The ball rattles off the crossbar, and we remain at 0-0 in this shootout. Who would have expected that?
Oof, not me, Dave. He looked very confident in the build-up to that place kick, but he's been denied by the crossbar.
Stepping up next for Kingan's Kippers is Dominic Watkins-Snaith. He's had a hard time all evening with the big, nasty bully Jordan Edwards, but he has a chance to give his team an edge as the second penalty taker for the Neston boys. He looks nervous as he places the ball and he prepares to take this penalty. But he buries it to the right of the goalkeeper Saunders, who's left grasping at thin air. A good penalty from Watkins-Snaith gives the Kippers a 1-0 lead in this shootout.
Fair play, Dom. After the battering he's taken this evening, you've got to tip your hat to him for keeping his cool there.
Now it's the turn of Joe Pritchard to step into the pressure cooker and take the second penalty for Hardly Athletic FC. A few words being exchanged between him and the Kippers goalkeeper Mortimer. Both players were very much involved in the ugly scenes we witness in extra time, but who will prevail here? Pritchard approaches and buries it! He goes straight down the middle to equalise in this shootout as Mortimer dives to his left. It's 1-1. Now it's the turn of Kingan's Kippers' bigger boy, Craig Fulham, who's been outstanding today in the midfield for his side and really proved his worth when things got tasty. But can he do the business for the Kippers from the spot? He places the ball carefully and assumes the position. Saunders braces himself between the posts, but he's beaten to the right side. A fine penalty from Fulham.
Yeah, very assured from Fulham. His manager, teammates and the Kippers fans applaud that excellent penalty. Hard and low into the right corner of Saunders' goal.
Next up for Hartley Athletic FC is Daniel Hughes. He looks a little nervous as he walks out to the centre to take this penalty. The Kippers' hard man, Luke Sawyer, who hasn't played this evening but has been very much involved, is loudly abusing Hughes as he prepares to take this spot kick. Here comes the run-up, and Hughes scores! He side-foots it into the right side of the goal, sending the goalkeeper Mortimer the wrong way. And he turns to face Sawyer and the rest of the Kippers sideline and puts his finger over his lips to tell the Kippers entourage to pipe down. Nerves of steel from Hughes. 2-2 in this shootout now. And Dave Pearce will go next for Kingan's Kippers. Centre-back is surely not well practiced in penalty taking, but he'll be tasked with taking penalty number 4 for the Kippers. The Hartley Athletic goalkeeper Matt Saunders is clearly trying to trash talk the Kippers defender Pearce as he tries to settle himself for this penalty. But Pearce buries it! He thumps it into the right side of Saunders' goal, and the Kippers fans on the balcony erupt. Boom! A solid penalty from the Kippers centre-back. Pearce converts from the spot, and Kingan's Kippers now lead this shootout 3-2, with Jordan Edwards next to go for Hartley Athletic. Emerging from the Hartley Athletic huddle now is the battered and bruised centre-back Jordan Edwards, the final outfield player to take a penalty in this shootout. He's been heavily involved this evening, whether he's been getting caught out of position defensively or standing up to the bigger boy Craig Fulham. It seems this man's name has never been far from my lips tonight. He steps up now to take a penalty and try to bring the score to 3-3 with the goalkeepers to follow. Kippers fans, along with reserve player Luke Sawyer, are booing and jeering the Hartley Athletic centre-back as he places the ball on the penalty spot. The Kippers captain Luke Mortimer is yet to make a save in this shootout, and what a time this would be to break that trend. Here goes Edwards, and he scores! A good penalty, to be fair. He finds the left corner of the goal, beyond the reach of Mortimer.
Well. I'll be honest, I thought Edwards was going to miss. He's not the most fundamentally sound, nor the most cool under pressure, but Edwards has come good for his manager Mace on this occasion.
Now, Kingan's Kippers goalkeeper Luke Mortimer steps up as the final Kipper to take a spot kick before we enter sudden death. The Hartley Athletic goalkeeper Saunders is playing a few mind games here as he juggles the ball around and eventually hands it over to Mortimer, who doesn't look phased, as he now places the ball down on the spot. It's Mortimer versus Saunders. And it's saved! Tipped over the bar by Saunders! Mortimer got power behind the shot, but he didn't direct it to a corner, and Saunders has made the save! The Hartley Athletic captain pumps both fists in the air in celebration. He'll be the last man to take a spot kick, and he'll take his team to the Springfield Cup final if he can score! Saunders and Mortimer have switched roles. A few words were exchanged between the two. Mortimer at least has a chance to make amends for his miss immediately. Saunders looks confident, blowing kisses to the fans on the balcony. Here he goes to take Hartley Athletic to the Springfield Cup final. A stuttering approach, and he scores! Hard and low into the bottom right corner of Mortimer's goal, and Hartley Athletic FC are triumphant in this semi-final. Manager Mace and the rest of his players rush in to celebrate with Saunders, who's fallen to his knees at the penalty spot. Raucous celebrations from the Hartley Athletic players and fans. Ecstasy for Hartley Athletic and agony for Kingan's Kippers, who played their hearts out today and were denied by the finest of margins.
Yeah, it was such a tight contest. It was a shame that one team had to lose. Both teams are leaving blood, sweat and tears on the floor tonight, which won't please Richard Boghill, who will have to clean that shit up. But as a fan of the Springfield Cup, it was great to see. Very even match. There were some great individual performances for both teams. The tactical battle was intriguing, and it was wicked that we finally got to see a proper rumble.
Yes, that was a real treat. Who do you think won the fight, Gavin?
Well, ultimately the Kippers, but Hardly Athletic gave a good account of themselves. Thought Pritchard was excellent against the bigger boy Craig Fulham, and McCabe and Edwards performed well. But Mortimer got a few good shots in, and once Danny Derrick got involved, there was only going to be one winner. Well, the Kippers may have won that battle, but they didn't win the war. Hardly Athletic will progress to the Springfield Cup final, and will face the winner of Dave Brown's boys and Up in Smoke FC. Before we leave, Gavin, who was your man of the match?
Well, tough decision, but for me it's got to be McCabe, Dave. He seems to relish the Springfield Cup, and once again he was a key source of goals for Hardly Athletic. Clinical finishing most of the time, and overall a great performance. He missed his penalty, but I'll give him a pass on that, since it didn't end up costing his team. They wouldn't have made it to penalties if it weren't for their striker this evening.
Thank you, Gavin. Well, that's all we've got time for this evening. Hardly Athletic triumph over Kingan's Kippers, 4-3 on penalties, after finishing 2-2 after extra time. From my colleague Gavin Gusbury,
Cheers, Anne!
and myself, Dave Mattingly. So long until next time.